Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Galaxy Channel. Tonight we are going to spend a long, unhurried stretch of time with a single strange fact about the sky, and the fact is this. Far out in the cold and the dark, so far from the sun that its light arrives thin and pale and blue, there is a world that does not stand upright the way the other planets do. It does not spin like a top set proudly on a table, turning with its head held high. Instead, it has tipped over. It lies almost completely on its side, and as it travels its enormous slow circle around the sun, it rolls. That is the small paradox we will turn over and over tonight, the way you might turn a smooth stone in your hand until it warms. A world that rolls instead of spinning. A planet lying down. And the strange thing, the thing worth a whole slow night of wondering, is that lying down did not break it. It kept going. It has kept going for billions of years, tipped over and rolling, and nothing about it is wrong, and nothing about it needs to be fixed. It simply rests on its side and keeps its long, patient orbit, and the universe lets it. We are going to move through this idea slowly, in 4 broad directions, and you do not need to remember any of them. First, we will simply picture the tipped world itself, the size and the color and the tilt of it, and what it would feel like to drift near it. Then, we will wander back through the history of how anyone ever found it at all, the quiet astronomers and their long nights at the eyepiece. Then we will let ourselves be carried outward on the idea of the roll itself, the way its seasons stretch across decades and its poles take turns facing the light. And finally, we will settle into the comfort of scale, the enormous distances and the deep cold, and we will find, as we always do, that the bigness of it is not frightening at all, but restful, a kind of permission to be small and held. If this channel has helped you find your way down into sleep before, a like or a subscribe helps the channel reach others who are also lying awake tonight, others staring at the ceiling in the dark, looking for a voice to follow down. That is the only thing I will ask, and I will not ask again. From here on there is only the long, low telling, and none of this is anything you need to hold on to. You do not need to follow the argument. You do not need to keep the facts. You do not need to arrive anywhere by the end. The words are only here to give your mind something smooth and undemanding to rest against, while the rest of you lets go. So settle in. Let your shoulders ease down, away from your ears, down toward the bed. Let your jaw loosen. Let your hands lie open, or curled, whichever they want. Let the weight of your head sink fully into the pillow, so the pillow does the holding now, not you. Let your breath find its own slow floor. There is nowhere you have to be, and nothing you have to do. And all the long distance between here and that far-tipped world is yours to fall through, softly, for as long as you like. Let's begin. Let us start by simply being near it, this world that lies on its side. It is the 7th planet counting outward from the sun, and it is very large, though not the largest. If the Earth were the size of a small marble you could hold between 2 fingers, this world would be a ball about the width of your open hand, 4 times across what our home is, wide enough that you could pour more than 60 Earths inside it, and still have room. And yet, for all that size, it is a soft thing to look at. It has no hard face. It is not rock and cliff and canyon. It is made mostly of gas and of slushy, half-frozen fluids layered deep. Water and ammonia and methane pressed together in a way we do not have a good word for, not quite liquid and not quite ice. A warm, dark ocean of it wrapped around a small, stony heart. We call it an ice giant, and the name is fair, but do not picture something jagged. Picture instead a vast smooth sphere the color of a pale blue-green sea seen through morning haze, featureless and even, a planet that looks less like a place and more like a held breath. That color comes from something quiet happening in its air. High in the outer skin of its atmosphere there is a gas called methane, and methane has a habit of drinking in the red light and letting the blue-green light go free. So the sunlight that reaches it, already thin from the long journey out, falls onto that upper haze, and the red is swallowed, and what scatters back to any watching eye is that cool, even, oceanic tint. It is the color of shallow water over pale sand, the color you might see if you closed your eyes right now and imagined floating on your back in a warm, still bay with the light coming through your eyelids. That is the face this world turns to the dark. Not a stormy face, not a striped and churning face like some of its siblings, but a smooth and untroubled one. A single soft wash of blue-green laid evenly across a body wider than you can easily picture. And it is cold out there, colder than almost anywhere. This is a world where the top of the clouds can fall to temperatures far below anything that has ever touched your skin, hundreds of degrees below freezing, a cold so complete that the very idea of warmth seems to belong to another story entirely. But I want you to notice how that cold, out there and far away, is not a cruel thing. It is only still. It is the stillness of a thing at rest. Nothing on that world is shivering, because there is nothing there to shiver. The cold is simply the temperature of deep peace, the temperature of a place so far from any fire that it has stopped expecting to be warmed, and has settled instead into a long, even, undisturbed calm. When you think of that cold tonight, do not think of your own body in it. Think of the world itself, wrapped in its cold like a heavy blanket pulled all the way up, tipped onto its side, rolling slowly through the dark, and perfectly, deeply at ease. Now let us drift back in time, back before anyone knew this world lay on its side, back before anyone knew it was there at all. For most of human history, no one did. There were, in the old reckoning of the sky, only a handful of wandering lights that people had watched for as long as there had been people to look up. 5 of them, moving against the fixed stars. 5 slow travelers that the ancient watchers named and mapped and told stories about. And beyond those 5, everyone assumed, was simply the edge of things. The sky was thought to be a smaller room than it is. No one imagined that out past the last of the known wanderers there might be another, dim and slow, drifting so faint that the eye alone could just barely catch it, and the mind would always mistake it for a star. And that is exactly what happened, over and over, for a very long time. The tipped world is, on the rare clear night, just barely visible to a person with sharp eyes and a dark sky and no idea what they are looking at. It sits at the very threshold of what an unaided eye can hold. And so through the centuries, it was seen, and seen, and seen again. And each time, it was written down as nothing more than one faint star among the thousands, a small point of light in a particular patch of sky, catalogued and forgotten. It moved so slowly that no one caught it moving. It took its long, patient path across the heavens at a pace too slow for a single lifetime of casual glancing to notice. It hid. In other words, not by being invisible, but by being mistaken for something ordinary. It hid in plain sight, tipped over and rolling, for as long as there had been eyes to overlook it. The night it stopped being ordinary came in the spring, a little over 2 centuries ago, when a musician-turned-astronomer sat at a telescope he had ground and polished largely with his own hands. He was not searching for a planet. No one searched for planets then, because no one believed there were any left to find. He was doing patient, methodical work, sweeping across the sky in careful strips, noting every point of light, and he came upon one that did not look quite right. It was not a sharp pinprick like the true stars around it. It showed, faintly, a little disk, a small roundness, a size. Stars have no size in a telescope, they are too far, and they stay stubborn points no matter how much you magnify them. But this one grew when he looked harder. This one had an edge. And so at first he thought it must be a comet, some icy visitor swinging through, and he wrote it down as such, cautiously, honestly, the way careful people do. But the nights went on, and the little disk moved, and it did not behave like a comet at all. It grew no tail. It followed no wild plunging path. It drifted along a smooth, nearly circular track, calm and unhurried, far out past the last of the known wanderers, exactly where a new planet would drift if a new planet were there. And slowly, night by careful night, the astronomers of that age came to understand what had happened. The room of the sky had doubled in size. The solar system was twice as wide as anyone had dreamed. A whole new world had been added to the family, out in the cold and the dark, and it had been there all along, seen and dismissed 1,000 times, waiting with infinite patience for someone to look long enough to notice it was not a star. I find something restful in that, and I hope you do too. The world did not announce itself. It did not demand to be found. It simply kept its slow orbit, tipped on its side, rolling through the dark, indifferent to whether anyone understood it. And when at last a patient person looked closely enough, it was there, and it had always been there, and nothing had been lost by the waiting. The discovery changed everything about how large people believed the sky to be, and yet the world itself did not change at all. It was exactly as it had been the night before, and the century before, and the age before that. Only the seeing changed. And so tonight, as you lie here, you might let that be a small comfort, that the things which are truly there do not need you to hold them in place. They keep on being, quietly, whether or not anyone is watching, whether or not you stay awake. You are allowed to stop watching. The world will keep rolling. So let us come now to the roll itself, the heart of the small paradox, and let us take it slowly, because it is a strange and beautiful thing, and there is no hurry. Think first of how the other planets carry themselves. Picture our own Earth for a moment, spinning as it circles the sun. It spins like a top that is only slightly leaning, its poles pointed nearly straight up and down as it goes around, so that day follows night in a steady, even rhythm, and the sun rises and sets in a familiar way, no matter where in its orbit the Earth happens to be. Its axis, the invisible line it turns around, stands almost upright, nodding just a little, and that little nod is enough to give us our seasons. That gentle lean is the whole reason for summer and winter here. Now take that lean, that small tilt, and imagine tipping it further, and further, and further still, until the axis is no longer pointing up at all, but lying nearly flat, pointing out sideways toward the sun and away from it. That is the tipped world. Its poles do not point up and down as it travels. They point out and in. It does not stand and spin. It lies down and rolls. And because it lies down like that, the way light falls upon it is unlike anything we know here. Follow it, slowly, all the way around its long journey. At one point in its orbit, one of its poles is aimed almost directly at the distant sun. Imagine that. The top of the world stares straight into the faint light, and that pole has day. A long, unbroken day, while the opposite pole is turned entirely away into the dark and has a long, unbroken night. The pole that faces the sun bathes in that thin light continuously, without setting, without rising, just a steady pale glow wheeling around the sky in slow circles that never dip below the horizon. And that is not a day of ours, because this world takes so very long to circle the sun. That single sunlit season at the pole stretches on for what would be, in our counting, decades, more than 20 of our years of continuous light. And then, just as slowly, the world rolls onward along its orbit, and the sun's angle shifts, and eventually the light slides down to fall across the middle of the world, and both poles catch the light sideways, and there is something more like the ordinary turning of day and night. And then it rolls on further still, and the other pole tips toward the light, and that hemisphere begins its own decades-long day, while the first one settles into a night that also lasts for decades. Sit with that rhythm for a moment. Because it is so unhurried, it can slow your own breath, just to imagine it. A season here lasts a few months. A season there lasts more than 20 years. A single winter at one of those poles is longer than many human childhoods, a darkness so patient and so complete that a person born at its beginning could grow all the way to adulthood before the first thin edge of returning sunlight ever crept over the horizon. And yet, there is nothing grim in that long dark. It is not a punishment. It is only the slow, even breathing of a world that has laid itself down and takes its time. The light will come back. It always comes back. The world rolls, and the pole that slept turns once more toward the sun, and the decades-long night gives way, without hurry, without alarm, to a dawn that also lasts for decades. Everything out there happens slowly, and everything out there comes around again. There is a deep reassurance in that if you let yourself feel it, that even the longest darkness is only a season, and that the rolling always brings the light back around. Let yourself be carried by that rolling now, just for a while. Let go of the facts and simply drift. Imagine that you are out there, weightless, far from the tipped world, but able to see it whole, a great smooth blue-green sphere hanging in the black, lit thinly along one curved edge by a sun so distant it is only a bright star. There is no up and no down where you are. There is no floor to press against your feet and no ceiling above your head. You are simply floating, held by nothing and needing nothing. The way you are held right now by the bed beneath you, which asks nothing of you either. And the world turns before you, so slowly you can barely see it move, rolling along its unseen track. And you turn with it, drifting, carried, the two of you falling together through the same enormous quiet. You do not have to steer. You do not have to hold your position. There is nothing to grip and nothing to lose your grip on. You are being carried, the way a leaf is carried on slow water, the way a small boat is carried on a tide that knows where it is going, even when you do not. Let the drifting take you. Let the world roll, and let yourself roll softly with it, sinking a little deeper with each slow turn. And notice, as you drift there, how the great cold and the great distance do not press on you as fear, but as a kind of hush. Out here, the sounds of the day cannot reach you. Out here, there is no clock ticking, no list waiting, no voice asking anything of you. There is only the slow blue-green world turning, and the far small sun. and the wide, soft dark stretched out in every direction like a blanket, with no edges. You could let your thoughts go the way you would let your hands go limp, one finger at a time, until they are simply resting. You could let the drifting be the only thing that is happening. The world will keep rolling whether you attend to it or not. You are free, out here, to attend to nothing at all. Now perhaps a small question has been drifting at the back of your mind. The same question that has drifted at the back of every mind that has ever considered this world. And the question is simply, why? Why does it lie down when all its brothers and sisters stand? What laid it on its side? And here is the honest and rather beautiful answer, which is that no one knows for certain. But the story the evidence tells is a story of long ago gentleness disguised as violence, and I want to tell it to you in a way that will not disturb your rest but soothe it. Cast your mind back then to the very beginning of the solar system, to a time when the sun was newly lit and the space around it was not empty and orderly, but crowded. A vast, slow swirl of gas and dust and rock and ice, all of it circling, all of it drifting, all of it slowly gathering itself into clumps and the clumps into worlds. It was a nursery, in its way, a wide turning cradle in which the planets were still forming, still growing, by sweeping up the smaller pieces that shared their paths. And in a nursery like that, worlds did not simply appear finished and upright. They were built, piece by piece, from countless comings together, and some of those comings together were large. The best guess anyone has, the story that fits what we can see, is that in those early ages the young-tipped world met another large body, another growing thing perhaps as big as our own Earth, and the two of them came together. But I do not want you to picture a catastrophe, a fireball, an ending. I want you to picture instead the slowness of it. In space, even a collision is, in a strange way, unhurried. The two great bodies drifted toward one another across enormous distances, drawn by the patient pull of gravity, closing the gap over a long, long time, and when at last they met, they did not shatter into nothing. The larger simply absorbed the smaller, took it in, and in the taking in, was nudged, tipped, rolled over onto its side by the sheer sideways weight of the meeting. It was less a shattering than a settling. It was a world being pushed, once, long ago, into lying down, and then never being pushed back up. Or perhaps it was not one great meeting but many small ones, a long series of gentle sideways nudges over ages, each one tipping the world a little further, the way a boat at anchor is turned slowly by the accumulated pushing of many small waves, until it faces a wholly new direction, and no one can say which particular wave was the one that turned it. Or perhaps it was the slow tug of the other giant worlds, their distant gravity working on it across millions of years, easing it over by degrees so patiently that there was never any single moment of tipping at all, only the long, imperceptible leaning of a thing settling into a new rest. We may never know which of these stories is the true one, but notice that every version of the story ends in the same peaceful place. However it happened, whether by one meeting or many, whether by sudden nudge or slow lean, the world ended up lying down, and lying down it stayed, and lying down it has been content for billions of years. The tipping is not an ongoing crisis. It is a settled fact. It happened, if it happened at all, unimaginably long ago, and everything since has been calm. There is something in that I find deeply restful, and I offer it to you to rest against. The thing that laid this world on its side is finished. Whatever it was, it is over. So completely over that it happened before there was anyone anywhere to see it, and the world has spent all the ages since simply being what that ancient event made it, a tipped and rolling thing, at peace with its own strange posture. It does not strain to right itself. It does not wish it were standing. It has made its peace with lying down, and in lying down it has found a stable, lasting balance, turning through the dark on its side without the slightest wobble of complaint. You, too, are allowed to lie down and let what tipped you long ago be finished. You do not have to right yourself tonight. You do not have to stand up straight. You are allowed to rest exactly in the posture the day has left you in, tipped and heavy and sinking into the bed, and to find, as that world found, that lying down is its own kind of stability, its own kind of peace. And here is a further quiet wonder that comes from all this tipping, one that only deepens the calm. Because the world lies on its side, its family of moons and its delicate rings lie on their sides too. They circle its middle, as moons and rings tend to do, but since its middle is tipped, the whole system is tipped along with it, so that the moons do not orbit around the planet's waist in the flat, level way we might expect. They wheel around it up and over, like the seats of a great slow wheel, stood on end, rising and falling as they go. Picture it, a tipped world, and around it, standing up in the dark, a wide ring of pale ice and a scattering of small round moons, all of them turning in a great vertical circle, up over the top and down under the bottom, patiently, endlessly, a slow wheel of stone and ice revolving in the cold. And each of those moons has a name drawn not from the old gods, as most moons do, but from poems and plays, gentle names, names of dreamers and lovers and sprites and sad, kind spirits, so that the tipped world travels through the dark surrounded by a small orbiting company of characters out of the softest old stories, wheeling around it forever in the quiet. Let us linger a little longer among those moons, because they are worth a slow visit, and because they hold their own small comforts. The largest of them are 5, and they are worlds in their own right, round balls of ice and rock, each one different, each one keeping its patient vertical orbit around the tipped world. One of them is a battered, fascinating little globe with a surface that looks as though it were broken apart and put back together, a patchwork of old cratered ground and strange grooved terrain, as if the moon itself had once come undone and gently reassembled, and now travels on, whole again, bearing the seams of its own repair, without shame. Another is marked by an enormous cliff, a scarp so tall that if you could stand at its base and look up, you would see a wall of pale ice rising for miles into a black sky, higher than any cliff on Earth, so high that in the weak pull of that little moon a pebble dropped from the top would take long minutes to drift down. And yet even that dizzying height is a still thing, a frozen thing, a monument that has stood unchanged and unclimbed in the dark for ages, going nowhere, threatening no one, simply being enormous and quiet and old. I want you to notice how these moons, for all their strangeness, are so deeply at rest. Nothing hurries them. They do not weather, because there is almost no air to weather them. They do not erode into softness, because there is no rain and no wind and no running water to wear them down. Whatever shape the ancient ages gave them, they hold, more or less forever. A crater scooped into one of them 1 billion years ago looks very much today as it did the day it formed. Time out there does not rush and ruin the way it can seem to here. Time out there is patient and preserving. It keeps things. It lets them last. And they circle and circle and circle the tipped world, up over the top and down beneath, in the long silence, in the deep cold, in no hurry to be anywhere they are not already, having all the time there has ever been. And around and among the larger moons run the rings, though they are not the grand bright rings you might picture around another, more famous world. These are dark and narrow and faint, thin bands of black ice and dust, threads of shadow drawn around the tipped world's tilted middle. For a long time, no one knew they were there at all, because they are so dim, they give almost no light back. They were found by an act of patient attention. Astronomers watching the world pass in front of a distant star noticed the starlight flicker and dim, briefly, several times, just before the world itself covered the star, and again just after. And they understood that something narrow and dark was passing in front of the star each time, blocking it for an instant. Rings invisible until a far light happened to shine through them and reveal, by its brief blinking, the delicate dark threads no eye had ever directly seen. There is something tender about that even the faintest and darkest of structures out there can be found, gently, by someone paying close enough attention to the flickering of a distant light. Nothing is truly lost in the dark. It only waits for the right patient watcher and the right far lamp shining through. And now let me tell you about the one time we went to see all this for ourselves. Because it happened only once, and it was brief, and it was extraordinary. Of all the worlds in our solar system, this tipped and rolling one has been visited by a spacecraft from Earth exactly a single time. One small machine, launched from our warm blue home, flew for years and years across the enormous gulf, past the striped giant and the ringed giant, and then out into the deeper dark, where no craft had gone before it. And for a few hours it swept past the tipped world, cameras open, instruments awake, drinking in everything it could as fast as it could, before the encounter was over. A single afternoon's acquaintance, after a journey of nearly a decade. And in those few hours it saw more than all of human history had seen before combined. It saw the smooth blue-green face up close. It counted new moons no one had known were there. It traced the faint dark rings. It felt the strange tipped magnetism of the place. And then it was past, and moving on, carried by its own speed out toward the edge of everything, its brief visit finished, its images already beginning their long, slow journey home as faint radio whispers crossing the dark for hours before they reached the waiting dishes on Earth. That little craft is still out there. You know. It never stopped. Long after its brief encounter with the tipped world, it kept going and going, out past the last of the planets, out past the edge of the sun's realm, into the true deep between the stars, and it travels there still, silent now, its power nearly spent. Drifting onward through a dark so vast, it will not come near another star for tens of thousands of years. And there is no sadness in that, only a strange, serene grandeur. It is not lost. It is not stranded. It is simply traveling, forever, carried by the same patient momentum that first flung it past the tipped world. A small-made thing from a small, warm planet, sailing on and on through the endless quiet, needing nothing, asking nothing, going peacefully wherever the long dark takes it. When you think of it tonight, do not think of it as abandoned. Think of it as free, released from every task, drifting at last without any destination it must reach, exactly the way you are drifting now, released from the day, sinking toward sleep, going nowhere you have to go. Now I want us to sit for a while with the sheer size of the distances, because I think you will find, as I always do, that they are not frightening but comforting, and I want to lay them out slowly enough that the comfort has time to settle in. Consider how far away this tipped world truly is. The light of the sun, which crosses the small gap to our own Earth in about 8 minutes, takes not 8 minutes, but nearly 3 hours to reach the tipped world out in its distant orbit. 3 hours for light itself, the fastest thing there is, to make the crossing. That means the sunlight falling on those blue-green cloud tops right now left the sun before you lay down, tonight, and has been traveling the whole time you have been settling into the bed, and only arrives out there in the deep dark long after it set out. The world is so far away that even light grows patient reaching it. And when that little spacecraft sent its images home, those radio whispers, also traveling at the speed of light, took the same long hours to cross back to us, so that everything we learned of the tipped world, we learned with a delay built in, a slow postal service across the void. Messages that were already hours old the moment they arrived. And yet, hold this too, for all that vastness, the tipped world is still our neighbor. It still belongs to the same small family of worlds circling the same single star. On the true scale of the galaxy, on the scale of the distances between the stars themselves, the tipped world is practically next door, a member of our own household. Close enough that we could send a machine to visit it within a single human lifetime. It is far, and it is near, both at once, and there is a lovely restfulness in holding those two truths together. You are a small thing on a small world, and the tipped giant is unimaginably distant from you, and yet you are bound to it, kin to it, circling the same warm fire, sharing the same slow cosmic address. You are not lost in the bigness. You have a place in it. You belong to a family of worlds, and the tipped one that lies on its side rolling through the dark is one of your distant relatives, and it is doing perfectly well out there, and so, in the end, are you. I think we are often told that the universe is vast in a way that is meant to make us feel small and frightened, as though the bigness were a kind of threat, a cold indifference waiting to swallow us. But lying here in the dark, I would ask you to feel it the other way. The bigness is not coming for you. The bigness is not even aware of you, and that is precisely the mercy of it. Out there, in all that enormous space, nothing is asking anything of you. The tipped world does not need you to worry about it. The far cold does not need your attention. The rolling and the drifting and the wheeling of the moons will go on exactly the same whether you are awake to think of them or fast asleep and dreaming of nothing at all. The universe is so large, and you are so small within it, that you are wonderfully, completely off the hook. You can set everything down. Nothing out there requires you to hold it up. The whole vast machine of it turns without your help, has always turned without your help, will turn without your help long after tonight is forgotten. And so you may rest. The bigness gives you permission to rest. Let us drift back toward the world itself and go inward now, down beneath those smooth blue-green cloud tops, and imagine sinking slowly into it, the way you are sinking slowly into sleep. If you could descend into the tipped world, you would find no solid ground to land on, no surface, no shore. You would simply pass from thin cold haze into thicker haze, and then into cloud, and then into a deepening fog of gas that grows warmer and denser and heavier the further down you go, pressing in around you gently but with ever more weight, until the gas is so compressed it stops behaving like air at all and begins to behave like a fluid, a warm dark sea with no top and no bottom, a slush of water and ammonia and other simple things all pressed together in the enormous, squeeze of the world's own weight. There is no line where the sky ends and the ocean begins. There is only a slow, seamless thickening, air becoming sea, becoming something denser still, all the way down through thousands of miles of it, warmer and warmer, heavier and heavier, until at the very center there is a small, hot core of rock and metal, a stony heart about the size of our whole Earth, holding still and warm at the middle of all that pressing dark. And in the strange, deep middle layers of that world, the pressures and temperatures are so extreme that ordinary things behave in extraordinary ways. Some who study these worlds suspect that far down inside, the carbon that is dissolved through that dark fluid ocean may be squeezed so hard that it forms diamond, tiny diamonds, forming in the depths and then slowly sinking, drifting down through the warm, dense sea toward the core like a slow, soft rain. Imagine that, if it is true, deep inside the tipped world, in the warm dark far below the blue-green clouds, a gentle, endless fall of diamonds, sinking through the pressing sea, catching no light because there is no light to catch, falling anyway, patiently, forever, a hidden weather of jewels no eye will ever see. Whether or not it is exactly so, I love that the idea is even possible, that a world lying on its side in the cold might hold within it a warm, dark ocean where diamonds fall like slow rain. There is so much we cannot see out there, and so much of it, when we imagine it honestly, turns out to be strange and beautiful and calm. And perhaps that is the truest thing this tipped world has to teach us tonight, that the parts of it we will never witness are not empty and are not frightening, but are instead patient and warm in their own hidden way, and full of a slow beauty that asks for nothing. The diamonds fall whether or not anyone counts them. The dark sea holds its warmth whether or not anyone descends to feel it, and the world goes on lying quietly on its side, rolling forward along its wide, slow path, carrying its buried jewels and its hidden ocean and its small, warm, stony heart through the cold, needing no witness, needing no help, simply being what it is, at rest, in its own strange posture, tilted all the way over into a rest so complete that it looks, from a distance, like sleep. Let us come back up now, out of the deep, up through the warming sea that thins into gas, up through the fog that thins into cloud, up through the cloud that thins into haze, up and up until we break out again, into the thin, cold, blue-green air near the top, where the sunlight lies flat and pale across the tilted world. You are rising the way a diver rises, slowly, without effort, letting the depth release you gently back toward the surface, and as you rise you feel your own breath rising too, slow and even, each breath a little softer than the one before. There is no hurry in the ascent. There is no hurry in anything out here. The tipped world took ages to lean over into its rest, and it will take ages more to change again, and in between it simply leans and rolls and lets the seasons pour their long, slow light across its sideways face. Think, if you like, of how long those seasons are. On our own turning world, a season lasts a few months, spring melting into summer, and summer fading into autumn within a single year. The light returning quickly, the dark never lasting long. But out here, on the tipped world, where a single trip around the distant sun takes 84 of our years, each season stretches across more than 2 decades. One long pole leans toward the far small sun and stays leaned there for 21 years, bathed in a single unbroken day that lasts longer than a human childhood, while at the other end of the world the opposite pole leans away and rests in a single unbroken night just as long. A night that does not lift for 21 years, a darkness so patient and so complete that it makes our longest winter look like the blink of an eye. And yet nothing about it is harsh. It is simply slow. It is simply the pace of a world that has lain down and given itself over to the largest, calmest rhythm there is. Imagine being carried through a night that long. Imagine a darkness so unhurried that the stars themselves seem to have settled in to stay, wheeling so slowly overhead that you could watch them for a lifetime and never see them rush. That is the kind of night the tipped world knows, and it does not fear that night, and it does not fight it, and it does not lie awake within it, wishing for the dawn. It simply rests inside the long dark, tilted and calm, trusting that the light will come around again in its own good time. Because it always has. Because it always will. Because the great slow wheel of the world's long year turns on whether or not anyone waits for it. And you can trust the same. You can let the dark be long tonight. You can let it be as long as it needs to be. The light will come around again in the morning, faithfully, without your having to summon it. And until then, you may rest inside the dark, the way the far pole rests, tilted gently away from the day, held in a stillness that asks nothing of you at all. There is a story worth telling here, a quiet one, about how we ever came to know this world at all. Because for most of the long history of people looking up, no one knew it was there. For thousands of years, across every land and every language, the people who watched the sky counted the same small handful of wandering lights and no more. There were the fixed stars which held their patterns night after night, and there were a few bright wanderers that drifted among them, and those wanderers were all that anyone knew of the other worlds. The tipped world was there the whole time, of course, rolling along its wide, slow orbit, but it was so far away and so faint that the unaided eye could barely catch it, and when it was caught, it was mistaken again and again for an ordinary star, one more dim point among the thousands, unremarkable, unnamed, quietly overlooked for the whole of human history until one particular night. The man who found it was not even looking for a world. He was a musician by trade, a man who gave lessons and played the organ in a distant town, and who had taught himself the sky in his spare hours out of pure and patient love for it, grinding his own mirrors, building his own instruments by hand, and turning them toward the dark night after night, simply to see what was there. And on one ordinary evening, sweeping slowly across a quiet patch of sky, he noticed a small something that did not look quite like the stars around it, a little smudge that seemed to have the faintest size to it, the barest hint of a disk where a star should have been a mere point of light. He watched it, and he came back to it on the following nights, and he saw that it moved, slowly, patiently, against the fixed stars behind it, and he understood that he had found something that had never been named. At first he thought it might be a comet. It took time, and the careful work of many hands, before the truth settled into place, that this was no comet at all, but a whole new world, a planet farther out than anyone had ever known, doubling in a single stroke the known size of the Sun's family of worlds. Think of what that must have felt like, to be the first eye in all of history to know that the tipped world was a world. For every generation before that quiet night, the map of the heavens had ended where it ended, and no one imagined it reaching farther. And then one patient watcher, working alone with instruments he had made with his own hands, gently pushed the edge of the known outward, and the map of the heavens grew, and everyone who came after would live in a slightly larger and stranger and more wonderful universe than everyone who came before. There is something deeply restful in that, I think in the reminder that the discoveries were made slowly, by patient people, one careful look at a time, and that the world waited for us with endless calm to be found, holding its place in the dark for all those thousands of unwatched years without the slightest impatience. Content to be discovered whenever we finally happened to look closely enough. It had all the time it needed. It has all the time it needs still. And once it was found and named and understood to be a world, the watchers kept watching, and slowly, across the years and the centuries that followed, they began to notice the strangest thing about it. The thing that is the heart of our story tonight, which is that this world does not stand up the way the others do. They tracked the small pale points of light that circled it, the little moons that swung around it in their patient rings, and they saw that those moons did not orbit the way moons ought to. Around most worlds, the moons trace their circles roughly level, spread out like a flat plate held upright, turning in the same broad plane in which the world itself spins and travels. But around the tipped world, the moons swung up and over and down, tracing their circles almost vertically, wheeling around the poles instead of around the middle, as if the whole system had been quietly turned onto its side. And from that strange sideways wheeling of the moons, the watchers understood at last that the world itself must be lying down, tilted nearly a full right angle over from upright, spinning not like a top, but like a ball set rolling along the ground. Let yourself sit with that image for a moment. The image at the center of everything tonight, of a world that lies down instead of standing up. Every other world we know spins more or less upright, leaning only a little, holding its poles roughly up and down as it turns, the way a spinning top holds itself proud against the floor. But this one world, alone among its neighbors, has tipped all the way over. Its North Pole does not point up toward the top of things. It points outward, sideways, off across the flat of its own orbit, so that as the world travels its long, slow circle around the sun, it does not spin like a top at all. It rolls. It rolls like a ball set gently rolling along a smooth, wide floor, turning over and over as it goes, lying on its side the whole way round, tipped into a rest so total that its very manner of moving through space became a kind of lying down. No one knows for certain how it came to lie down like this, and there is something lovely in that uncertainty, something that lets the imagination rest rather than strain. The gentlest story the watchers tell, the one they think most likely, is that long ago, in the wild young days when the worlds were still forming and the spaces between them were crowded with great wandering bodies of rock and ice, something very large came drifting in across the dark and met the young world with a slow, enormous, unhurried collision. A meeting so vast and so gradual by our small human sense of time that it would have looked, had anyone been there to watch, less like a crash and more like a leaning. One great body settling slowly against another and tipping it, over the course of ages, gently onto its side. And there it has stayed ever since. Whatever pushed it over is long gone now, scattered or absorbed, or drifted away into the dark, and the world it tipped simply kept the tilt, kept the lean, kept rolling forward along its wide orbit in the posture it was given, never straightening, never rising, holding its long lie down across all the ages that have passed and all the ages still to come. And so it goes on rolling, patiently, endlessly, a whole world lying on its side in the cold and the dark and the quiet, turning slowly over as it drifts its long way round the distant sun, and there is nothing sad in it, and there is nothing wrong in it, and there is nothing that needs to be fixed or fought, or sat upright again. It is simply resting in the only posture it has ever known, and finding in that posture a kind of grace, a slow rolling grace that carries it forward without hurry and without strain. The world that lies down to rest does not fail at standing. It succeeds at resting. And you too tonight, lying down in the dark, are not failing at anything. You are succeeding at rest. You are doing the oldest and simplest and most necessary thing there is, the thing the tipped world has been doing for billions of years, the thing every tired body under every star eventually learns to do, which is to stop holding yourself upright and let yourself lean all the way over and rest. Let me carry you outward again, softly, the way the world is carried along its orbit, and ask you simply to imagine drifting. Imagine that you are not lying in your bed at all, but floating far out in the calm dark near the tipped world, weightless, unhurried, held up by nothing, and needing nothing to hold you. There is no up out here, and there is no down. There is no effort of standing, and no effort of balancing. There is only the slow soft drift, and the pale small sun far off, and the great tipped world turning quietly beside you, rolling along its path, and you drifting easily alongside it, matched to its slow motion, carried on the same wide current through the dark. You do not have to swim. You do not have to steer. You are simply carried, the way the world is carried, the way the light is carried across the long, slow seasons, the way sleep, when you stop resisting it, will carry you gently down into the dark without your having to do a single thing.
Let us drift now toward the color of it, because the tipped world has a color, and its color is one of the most restful things about it. From far away, through a good clear instrument, the world shows itself as a smooth pale disk of blue-green, a soft and even aquamarine, the color of shallow tropical water seen from above, or of sea glass held up to a pale sky, or of a faded turquoise stone worn smooth by long handling. It is not the deep, dramatic blue of a stormy ocean, and it is not the bright, hard blue of a summer noon. It is a quieter blue than that, a blue softened almost to green, a color that seems already half asleep, and the reason for that color is itself a small, quiet marvel, because the world wears that shade for a simple and gentle reason, that high in its cold, clear air there is a haze of methane, and methane has the quiet habit of drinking in the red and the orange from the sunlight that falls upon it, swallowing the warm end of the light and letting only the cool end pass, so that what returns to us, what reflects back across all those miles of dark, is the light with its fire quietly removed, the sunlight with its heat drunk away, leaving behind only the calm, cool blue-green that the eye finds so soothing. Think of that. The world is that soothing color, precisely because it has quietly absorbed the fierce part of the light and kept only the calm. It has taken in the red and the fire and the heat and let them go no further. And it gives back to the darkness only the coolness, only the blue, only the green, only the part of the light that rests the eye rather than rousing it. There is a lesson in that too, if you want one, though you do not need a lesson tonight, and may simply let the color wash over you if you prefer. But if you want one, it is this, that you can do the same, that you can let the fierce and heated parts of the day be quietly absorbed and let go, drunk away into the dark, and keep only the cool, calm part, only the soft part, only the part that soothes. Let the day's red be swallowed. Let only the blue-green remain. Let yourself become, for tonight, the color of that faraway world, cool and even and calm. The fire drunk quietly out of you, only the peace reflecting back. And it is not only the color that is smooth. The whole face of the world is smooth, remarkably, unusually smooth, smoother than almost anything else we have seen out there among the worlds. On other great worlds of gas and cloud, the watchers see wild, banded storms and vast, churning belts, swirling ovals and racing streams, great, restless faces forever roiling and changing. But the tipped world, when we finally sent a small, quiet traveler close enough to look, showed us a face almost featureless, a soft, even haze with barely a mark upon it, calm and pale and untroubled from pole to pole, as smooth and blank and restful as a held breath, as a still pond, as a sleeping face. It was so calm that some who studied the pictures were almost disappointed by it, having hoped for drama, having wanted storms. But there is no need to be disappointed by calm. Calm is its own kind of gift, and the tipped world offers it freely, a whole vast face of blue-green stillness, hardly a ripple on it, hanging quiet in the dark, showing us what a world looks like when it has nothing left to prove and nothing left to churn, when it has simply lain down and gone smooth and still. Beneath that smooth, still face, though, the world is not asleep in every way, for there is weather down there, slow and hidden, deep beneath the calm exterior, and even the coldest measured temperatures near its cloud tops, colder than almost anywhere else among the sun's worlds, do not mean the world is dead or empty. It means only that the world holds its warmth deep and close, tucked far down inside beneath its calm, pale blanket of haze, the way you hold your own warmth close beneath your blankets on a cold, clear night. The cold is only on the surface. The cold is only the outermost skin of it. Down below, in the dark, dense sea we drifted through before, the world stays warm, patient, holding its heat gently at its stony heart, and letting only the calm, cold quiet show upon its face. It is bundled up. It is tucked in. It is a whole world tucked in for the long night, holding its warmth deep, showing only stillness on the outside, exactly the way you are tucked in now, warm at the center, calm on the surface, settling down. Now let us turn softly to the rings, because the tipped world has rings, and they too lie in the strangest and most restful posture. When most of us picture a ringed world, we picture the great bright one, with its wide flat halo, spread out level around its middle, like a broad brim, tilted only a little, catching the sun across its face. But the rings of the tipped world do not lie flat around the middle in the ordinary way. Because the whole world has leaned over onto its side, its rings have leaned over with it, and so they do not circle the world like a broad flat brim, but stand around it almost upright, ringing the poles instead of the equator, wheeling up and over the top and down beneath the bottom. A set of thin, dark hoops standing nearly on edge around the tipped and rolling world. Picture it slowly. Picture a world lying on its side, and around it, standing up almost vertical, a series of narrow, faint rings, like the grooves of a record stood upright, like a target seen edge on, turning slowly with the slow turning of the world. They are not bright rings, these. They are dark and narrow and faint, made of dust and of chunks of something almost black, black as coal, black as charcoal, so dark they drink the light rather than throwing it back, so that the rings do not blaze the way the famous bright ones blaze,
but hang almost invisible in the dark, thin and quiet and modest, revealed only to patient instruments and careful eyes. And there is something restful in that modesty too. In a set of rings that does not need to shine, that circles its world quietly in the dark without display, thin dark hoops of patient dust turning slowly around the poles of a world that lies on its side. Not everything beautiful has to be bright. The tipped world teaches that gently, over and over. Its rings are faint, its face is smooth, its color is soft, its whole nature is quiet, understated, calm. A study in the beauty of the muted and the still. And the more you look at it, the more restful it becomes, until you find that you have been breathing more slowly just from imagining it. Just from letting your mind rest on that faint dark-ringed and tilted world, turning quietly in the deep. And there are the little moons, too, swinging around it in their vertical circles. Small and pale and quiet, each one turning its slow way around the tipped world in the same upended plane as the rings, wheeling over the poles in patient loops. There are many of them, more than 24, and most are small, and they carry names unlike the names of moons anywhere else. For while other worlds name their moons after the old gods of thunder and the sea, the tipped world names its moons after the gentle inventions of poets and playwrights, after the airy spirits and dreaming lovers and forest sprites of old plays and old poems. There is a moon named for a spirit of the air, and a moon named for a queen of the fairies, and a moon named for a dreaming girl, and a moon named for a gentle magician's servant. And they all swing together around the tipped world in their high, slow, vertical loops. A little company of poets' dreams and playwrights' spirits, wheeling patiently over the poles of the rolling world, keeping it company through the long dark seasons, circling and circling in the quiet. Imagine being one of those small moons for a moment, if you like, swinging slowly around the tipped world in a wide, patient loop, up over the pole and across the top of the dark, and down the far side, and under the bottom, and up again, around and around, unhurried, held gently in the world's soft pull. Never falling, never flying off, simply looping in the calm dark for age after age. There is no strain in that orbit. There is no effort. The moon does not have to work to stay in its circle. It is simply held, gently and exactly, by the quiet pull of the world it loves, carried around and around in a motion so smooth and so faithful that it never has to think about it at all. And you are held like that too, tonight, in ways you cannot see. You are held to your bed by the quiet pull of your own turning world, held down softly against the sheets, kept from drifting off into the dark, cradled in place by the same patient force that keeps the little moons looping around the tipped world in the deep. You do not have to hold on. You are being held. You may let go, and you will not fall, because the holding does not depend on you at all. Let us stay with the little moons a while longer, because there is one among them worth a quiet visit, a small strange moon with a face unlike any other. A patchwork moon. A moon that looks as though it had been gently broken apart and then softly put back together again. Its surface a jumble of grooved plains and pale cliffs and old scarred valleys, all fitted together at odd angles like the pieces of a puzzle assembled by a patient and forgiving hand. Some who study it wonder whether long ago it was shattered by some slow collision and then, over ages, drew itself back together under its own faint gravity, the pieces settling gently against one another and knitting into a single body once more. Healed, but still bearing the soft seams of its old breaking. Whether or not that is exactly how it happened, there is a tenderness in the thought of a small broken thing far out in the cold and the dark that slowly, patiently, without hurry and without help, gathered itself back together and became whole again, and now turns quietly around the tipped world, carrying the gentle marks of its healing on its face, none the worse for having once come apart. And there is one cliff on that little moon, one pale sheer face of ice that rises so high and so steep that it is among the tallest cliffs known anywhere among all the worlds. A wall of bright ice standing miles above the plains below, catching the pale far sunlight along its edge. And yet, even a cliff that tall, out there, in that gentle low pull, would not be fearsome to stand upon, for the moon is so small and its gravity so soft that a thing let go from the very top of that towering wall would not plunge and shatter the way it would here, but would drift down slowly, gently, taking long, unhurried minutes to make the fall, sinking through the dark as softly as a leaf, as softly as a feather, as softly as sleep coming down over a tired mind. Everything falls slowly out there. Everything sinks gently. Even from the tallest cliff in all the worlds, the falling is soft and slow and calm, and there is nothing in it to fear. Let that be the way you fall tonight. Then, softly, slowly, from whatever height the day has left you standing at, down through the dark by gentle inches, in no hurry to land, sinking the way a thing sinks in that low soft pull, the way the diamonds sink through the warm deep sea, the way the little moons loop through the quiet, the way the long light pours slowly across the tilted seasons. You are not falling off anything. You are only settling down. And the settling is slow, and the settling is soft, and the settling asks nothing of you but that you allow it. Come back with me now to the tipped world entire, and let us think, gently, about how small we are beside it, and why that smallness is a comfort rather than a fear. The tipped world is enormous. You could pour more than 60 of our whole Earths inside it and still have room to spare. It is so wide that if you set it beside our world, it would loom over us like a mountain looms over a pebble. And its long, slow year is so vast that a person could live a full human life, could be born and grow old and pass away, all within a single one of its seasons, never once seeing that season change. It is bigger than us in every way, in size, in slowness, in age, in the sheer patient scale of its being. And by every ordinary measure that ought to make us feel tiny and lost and unimportant, a mote beside a mountain, a breath beside an age. But feel, instead, how restful that smallness is. Because if the world is that large, and that old, and that slow, then it does not need you to tend it. It was rolling along its wide orbit for billions of years before you were born, and it will go on rolling for billions of years after you are gone. And in all that vast unhurried span, your one small night of sleep changes nothing about it, and takes nothing from it, and is asked nothing by it. The tipped world does not need you to worry about it. It does not need you to hold it up, or keep it turning, or watch over it through the dark. It has been resting on its side, perfectly well, entirely on its own, since long before there were eyes to see it, and it will go on resting there, perfectly well, entirely on its own, long after tonight is forgotten. And so you are free. The bigness of it does not crush you. It releases you. It lifts the whole weight of the turning world off your shoulders, because the turning was never yours to carry, and sets you down, small and safe and unneeded, into your own small warm patch of dark, where the only thing left for you to do is the same thing the great world is doing, which is to rest. Let us drift back to the one small traveler that ever went to see it up close. Because there is only one, a single quiet machine that we sent out across the dark long ago, and its lonely journey there is a story of patience so deep that it can slow the breath just to think of it. When that little traveler left our world, it was carried out past one great world after another, swinging by each in turn, borrowing a little speed from each as it passed, taking years and years simply to cross the enormous emptiness between the worlds, drifting on through a silence and a cold and a dark so complete that nothing we know of here can quite match it. Year after year it fell outward through that dark, alone, patient, tiny against the vastness, carrying its small warm cargo of instruments toward a world no machine had ever visited, and it did not hurry. Because it could not hurry. Because out there the distances are so great that hurrying means nothing, and the only way across is the slow way, the patient way, the way of simply drifting on and trusting the long fall to carry you home to your destination in its own good time. And when at last it arrived, after all those years of silent drifting, it did not stay. It could not stay. It swept past the tipped world in a matter of hours, gathering all that it could in one brief quiet pass, turning its instruments this way and that as fast as it was able, gulping in the pictures and the measurements, the smooth pale face and the faint dark rings, and the little poet's moons, and then it was past. And gone, still falling outward, on into the deeper dark beyond, carrying its small treasure of knowledge back across the void toward the distant blue speck of home. Everything we knew of the tipped world for a very long time, every close picture of its smooth blue-green face, came from those few brief hours of one small traveler's single quiet pass. It gave us all of that in an afternoon, after years of patient drifting to arrive. And then it drifted on. And it is drifting still, out past the last of the worlds now, out into the true dark between the stars, silent, faithful, unhurried, falling on forever through a night with no end. There is something in that lonely, faithful journey that settles the heart, I think, the thought of that small, patient machine still drifting quietly outward through the dark, having done its gentle work and asked for nothing, carried on by the same slow momentum that first flung it from home, needing no engine now, needing no effort, simply coasting through the endless quiet on the long straight fall it began so many years ago. It does not struggle. It does not strain. It is simply carried, as everything out there is carried, on and on through the calm dark. And there is a deep peace in imagining it. A small warm point of patient metal sailing silently through the night, faithful to the end, drifting the way you are drifting now, carried the way you are carried now, on and on into the soft dark, without effort, without hurry, without any need to do anything at all, but let the long slow motion bear you gently onward. Let us come back once more to the great fact of the tilt, and turn it over softly one final time before the night grows very deep, because it is the heart of everything, and it is worth resting in. Every other world stands up. This one lies down. Every other world spins upright like a top, holding its poles proud and vertical as it turns. This one has leaned all the way over onto its side and rolls, its poles pointing out across its path, its whole body given over to the tilt. And whatever it was that pushed it over, all those ages ago, is long gone now, and does not matter now, and the world does not remember it, and does not mourn it, and does not spend its long nights wishing to be upright like the others. It has simply accepted the posture it was given. It has made its rest out of the very thing that once knocked it down. The great slow lean that a collision forced upon it, it has turned into a way of being, a way of moving, a way of resting, rolling calmly forward through age after age in the sideways stillness it never chose, but has entirely made its peace with. And maybe you know something of that, in your own smaller way, on your own smaller scale. Maybe there was a day, or a year, or a season of your life when something came in from out of the dark and leaned against you and tipped you over, knocked you off the upright you had been holding so carefully, left you lying at an angle you never planned to lie at, feeling that you had fallen and could not get up. And maybe you have spent long nights wishing you could stand the way you used to stand, straight and sure and upright, the way you imagine everyone else is standing. But look at the tipped world tonight, and let it tell you gently that lying on your side is not the same as failing. The tipped world does not stand, and it is not broken. It rolls, and it is not lost. It has taken the very tilt that felled it and made of it a slow and rolling grace, a way of moving through the long dark that is entirely its own, calm and patient and whole. And so may you. Whatever tipped you can become, in time, simply the way you lie, simply the angle at which you rest, simply a part of the quiet shape of you, rolling softly forward through your own long nights. No longer fallen, only resting, only leaning into the dark the way the great world leans, and finding it, at last, a kind of peace. Let your body take that lean now, if it hasn't already. Let your shoulders give up their small holding. Let the tilt come into you, the soft letting go of the upright, the gentle leaning over into rest. You do not have to lie perfectly straight. You do not have to hold any careful posture through the night. You may tip and lean and settle at whatever soft angle your tired body wants, the way the world tipped and leaned and settled. And let that be exactly right, exactly enough, exactly the shape of rest for you tonight. There is no correct way to lie down. There is only the way that lets you go quiet. Find it and lean into it, and let the long roll begin. Feel how the whole world out there is leaning with you. The tipped world leans across its orbit, poles pointing out into the dark. The faint rings lean upright around it, standing on edge in the quiet. The little poet's moons lean through their high vertical loops, over the poles and under them, around and around. The long light leans slantwise across the tilted seasons, pouring its patient glow across one pole for 21 unhurried years, while the other rests in its 21-year night. The whole system leans, tilted and rolling and calm, and you are leaning too, here in your bed, tipping softly over into the dark, part of the same great tilt, part of the same slow roll, part of the same quiet leaning down of tired things toward their rest. And out beyond even the tipped world, the dark goes on, deeper and deeper, and it is not empty and it is not cold in the way that frightens, but full, softly full, of more worlds and more moons and more slow patient wheeling than any mind could hold, each one turning quietly in its place, each one leaning at its own angle, each one carried on its own long orbit through the calm. There are worlds out there we have not found yet, the way the tipped world went unfound for all those thousands of years, worlds waiting patiently in the dark to be discovered whenever we finally look closely enough, holding their places without impatience, rolling and turning and resting in the deep. And there is room in all that vastness for you, small and warm and tired, to take your own small place tonight, to lie down at your own soft angle in your own small patch of the turning dark, and to rest there, held and carried and unneeded. One more quiet-leaning thing among the countless quiet-leaning things that fill the patient night. Let us go back down, once more, into the slow weather of the tipped world, because there is a strange and restful puzzle in it that is worth turning over in the low hours. You would think, would you not, that a world lying so far out in the cold and tipped so oddly on its side, with one pole baking in a 21-year day and the other buried in a 21-year night, would have wild and violent weather, great differences of heat driving great storms across its face. And yet for a long time it seemed almost the opposite. The world seemed nearly calm, its face nearly featureless, its winds hidden beneath the smooth pale haze. But slowly, with patient watching over many years, the watchers began to catch faint moving spots down in the depths. Soft bright clouds drifting through the blue-green, streaming around the world on quiet winds. And they understood that the weather was there all along, only slow, only patient, only deep, turning beneath the calm skin of the world in its own unhurried way. And the winds, when they measured them, blew not wildly but steadily, streaming around the world in broad quiet bands, carrying the soft clouds along in patient loops. Weather that takes its time, weather that does not rush, weather as slow and calm and patient as everything else about the tipped world. Even its storms are unhurried. Even its winds are calm. It is a world that does its weather gently, deep beneath the still pale surface, in no more of a hurry to storm than it is to change its long, slow seasons, or to straighten from its long, slow lean. And there is something in that too that soothes the thought of a whole world's weather turning so slowly and so softly, drifting its clouds around in patient loops beneath a smooth, calm sky, that even the storms out there seem half asleep. Let your own weather slow like that now. Whatever was churning in you at the start of this night, whatever winds of thought were streaming around inside you, let them slow, let them drop deeper, let them turn gentler and softer and further away, until they are only faint, slow clouds drifting somewhere far beneath the smooth, calm surface of you, no longer troubling the still pale face you turn up toward the dark. You do not have to stop your thoughts. The tipped world does not stop its winds. It only lets them go slow and deep and quiet until they hardly show. Let yours do the same. Let them sink and slow and drift far down and far away, while the smooth, calm surface of you settles into stillness and turns its quiet face toward sleep. There is one more thing to notice about the light out there before we begin to gather the night in toward its close, and it is this: that the sun, seen from the tipped world, is not the great warm blaze we know here, but a small pale point, bright still, but tiny, far away, a distant lamp turned low. The tipped world drifts so far out in the dark that the sun, which fills our sky with warmth and fire, shows out there as little more than a very bright star, casting a pale, thin light across the smooth blue-green face, a light without much heat in it, a light that soothes rather than dazzles, a low, soft, far-away light like the last lamp left burning in a quiet house at the very end of the day. And the world drifts on beneath that low, far-away lamp, turning slowly, rolling calmly, lit just enough to see by and no more, held in a soft perpetual dimness that is neither day nor night as we know them, but something gentler than either, a long, low twilight glow that never fully brightens and never fully fades. That is the light to fall asleep beneath, that low, faraway lamp, that soft, dim, that patient, distant sun turned down almost to a star. Imagine it now, resting far off at the edge of your closing sight, a small warm point in the great calm dark, casting just enough pale light across the tipped and rolling world to show its smooth blue-green face and its faint dark rings and its little looping moons. And then, no more, letting everything else stay soft and dim and shadowed and quiet. Let your own light dim like that now, down and down, from the bright hard glare of the day to a low soft faraway glow, and then dimmer still, until there is only the faintest warm point left at the edge of everything, and then let even that go soft, and blur, and fade, as you drift down beneath it into the calm. Let us drift back one last time to that image at the very center of the night. The world that lies down instead of standing up. And let us hold it now, not as a fact to be understood, but as a companion to sleep beside. Somewhere out in the deep dark, right now, while you lie here in your warm bed, the tipped world is rolling quietly forward along its wide, slow path, tilted all the way over onto its side, its smooth blue-green face turned calm toward the faraway sun, its faint dark rings standing upright and quiet around it, its little poet's moons looping patiently over its poles, its warm deep sea holding its slow hidden rain of diamonds far below, and all of it, every part of it, resting, rolling, needing nothing, asking nothing, simply being what it is in the great calm dark. It is doing it right now. It does not stop for the night, and it does not stop for the day, because out there the difference hardly holds, and it simply rolls on and on through the long low twilight. The world that lies down to rest, rolling softly through the dark exactly as it has for billions of years, and exactly as it will for billions more. And you are lying down to rest beside it, in your own small way, on your own small world, in your own warm patch of dark. You have leaned all the way over into your rest, the way the great world leaned. You have let the upright go. You have tipped softly onto your side, or onto your back, or into whatever soft angle your tired body chose, and you are rolling gently forward through the night now, carried on your own turning world, held down softly against your bed by the same patient pull that keeps the little moons looping in the deep. You are one more resting thing among the countless resting things, one more world lying down among the worlds, one more quiet leaning body carried through the calm dark toward the far low light of morning. And there is nothing left for you to do. There is nothing left to hold up. There is nothing left to worry into place. There is only the long soft roll of the night, carrying you on, and you leaning gently into it, and letting it take you down, and down, and down, into sleep. Feel, one more time, how held you are. Feel the bed beneath you, patient and steady, holding up your whole tired weight so that not one muscle in you needs to hold anything at all. Feel the soft pull of the world beneath the bed, gently keeping you in place, so that you cannot drift off, so that you cannot fall, so that you are cradled exactly where you are. Feel your own slow breath, moving on its own, in and out, low and quiet and easy, needing no help from you, as faithful as an orbit, as patient as a season, drawing the calm dark air in and letting it softly go, over and over, all on its own. You do not have to breathe on purpose. You do not have to hold yourself in place. You do not have to keep the world turning. It is all being done for you, gently, faithfully, exactly as it has always been done, and all that is left for you is to let go, and lean and roll softly down into the dark. Let us wander softly through the names of things out there, because there is a quiet pleasure in names spoken low in the dark, and the tipped world and its neighbors are full of them. Far, far out beyond the tipped world lie other cold worlds still, and belts of icy bodies drifting in slow rings, and small frozen wanderers on enormous patient orbits that take hundreds of our years to complete a single loop, out where the sun is only a bright star, and the cold is very deep, and the dark is very old. And all of it turns, and all of it drifts, and all of it keeps its slow appointments faithfully, the near moons and the far moons, the bright worlds and the dim ones, the fast inner circles close to the sun, and the vast slow outer circles far away, each one wheeling in its place, each one leaning at its own soft angle, each one carried on its own long orbit through the calm, a whole enormous clockwork of quiet turning things, so many of them, turning so slowly, so patiently, so far away, that merely to think of them is to feel the mind grow slow and calm and wide, spreading out into the great unhurried dark until your own small hurries seem very far away and very small. You do not have to hold any of it. That is the gift the wide dark keeps offering, over and over, through the whole long night. You do not have to keep the far worlds turning. You do not have to keep the icy belts drifting, or the small wanderers wandering, or the tipped world rolling on its side. It is all being kept by nothing you can see and nothing you must do, by the same patient pull that keeps your breath moving and your body cradled and your bed steady beneath you. And it will all keep being kept faithfully through every hour of your sleep and every hour after, whether you watch it or not, whether you worry over it or not, whether you are awake to it or long since drifted down into the dark. The whole vast turning of everything goes on without you tonight. And that is not a loneliness, that is a release. That is the deep permission of the wide dark, softly repeated. That you may put everything down now, all of it, every last turning worry, and simply rest, because none of it was yours to carry, and all of it will keep. So put it down. Put down the day. Put down the list of things undone and the list of things to do. Put down the worlds you have been holding up in your mind, the ones with your name on them, the ones you thought would fall if you let go. Put them down the way the tipped world put down the upright, the way the traveler put down its engine and simply coasted, the way the long light puts itself softly down across the tilted seasons. Let your hands go loose. Let your shoulders go loose. Let the small holding muscles all along your jaw and your neck and your back give up their quiet grip, one by one, and let your whole weight sink down into the bed that is so patiently holding it. There is nothing to hold. There is nothing to keep. There is only the long, soft roll of the night, and you, leaning into it, and the great tipped world rolling on beside you in the dark, keeping you the quietest and most faithful company there is. Let us slow the whole night down now, a little more, and let the words themselves grow slower, and softer, and further apart, the way the tipped world slows and softens everything it touches. Somewhere out in the dark the world is turning, once around in about 17 hours, a whole day and night passing over its smooth blue-green face in less time than we might spend in a long stretch of work. And yet, even that quick turning feels slow out there, feels calm, feels patient, because everything around it is so much slower still. The long seasons, the long year, the long low pouring of the faraway light, and nested inside that turning are all the other slow motions we have wandered through tonight. The winds looping quietly in their broad calm bands, the diamonds sinking softly through the warm deep sea, the little moons wheeling patiently over the poles, the faint rings standing upright and still. The lone traveler drifting on forever into the deeper dark, all of it moving, all of it slow, all of it calm. A whole world's worth of gentle, unhurried motion, turning and turning in the quiet while you lie here and let it turn. And you are turning too, though you cannot feel it, carried around once each day on your own quiet world, spun softly through the dark and back toward the light. A slow, smooth turning you have ridden every night of your whole life without ever having to think of it. You are turning right now, gently, through the deep part of the night, carried toward a morning that will come around in its own good time, faithfully, without your having to summon it, or wait for it, or worry it into being. The turning holds you. The turning carries you. The turning will bring the morning around whether you sleep through the whole of it or lie awake for a while first, and so there is nothing you need to do about the morning at all, except let it come, later, on its own, while you rest through the dark part of the turn. Let your breath grow slower still. Let it grow as slow and calm and patient as the slow, calm, patient winds of the tipped world, drifting in and drifting out, in no hurry, in no strain, each breath a little softer and a little slower than the one before, until the breathing seems to happen almost on its own, far away, gentle, a quiet tide going in and out at the edge of a sleep you are already beginning to slip down into. And let your thoughts, if there are any left, grow slow to match, drifting more and more faintly, further and further apart, like the last soft clouds drifting across the smooth face of the world, until between one slow thought and the next there is only a widening calm, a soft dim quiet, a low faraway glow, and the slow sure turning of the night carrying you gently down. Let us rest a while in the deepest quiet of the tipped world, the very center of it, that small, warm, stony heart we found far down at the bottom of the pressing dark, about the size of our whole earth, holding still and warm at the middle of everything. Think of how it sits there, that little rocky heart, wrapped in thousands of miles of warm, dark sea, wrapped in turn in thousands of miles of thickening gas, wrapped again in the smooth pale haze and the faint dark rings and the slow looping moons and the great cold quiet of the dark beyond, layer upon patient layer, all of it cradling that small warm still center, all of it holding it, all of it keeping it safe and warm and unhurried at the middle of the tipped and rolling world. Nothing reaches that heart, nothing troubles it. It rests at the center of all those protecting layers, warm and still, exactly as it has for billions of years, held in the deepest quiet there is. You have a center like that too, a small warm still place at the very middle of you, beneath all your own layers, beneath the thoughts and the worries and the aches of the long day, beneath the tired muscles and the racing mind, down at the quiet middle, where you are simply yourself, simply warm, simply here, simply breathing in the dark. And all your own layers are cradling it, all of them. The blankets holding your warmth close, the bed holding your weight, the room holding the bed, the house holding the room, the turning world holding the house. The great calm dark holding everything, layer upon patient layer, all of it keeping your own small, warm, still center, safe and held and unhurried at the middle of the night. Let yourself sink down toward that center now. Let yourself down past the tired muscles and the busy thoughts, down through the layers, down and down toward the small, warm, still place at the middle of you. And rest there, the way the stony heart rests, held safe by everything around you, warm at the center of the calm. And as you rest there, feel how the whole night has become one single held and holding thing, the tipped world holding its warm heart, the dark holding the tipped world, your blankets holding your warmth, your bed holding your weight, the deep quiet holding you, everything nested inside everything, every layer cradling the layer within, all the way down to the small, warm, still center of you, breathing slow in the dark. There is no edge to it and no strain in it. There is only the holding, patient and complete, layer within layer within layer, all the way out to the farthest cold dark, and all the way in to your own quiet heart, and you resting somewhere in the middle of it, held on every side, needing to hold nothing yourself, letting the whole nested quiet of the night hold you instead. Let us drift once more across the long, slow seasons of the tipped world, because there is a final comfort hidden in them, worth resting in, before the night grows very deep. We spoke of how each season lasts more than 20 years out there, one pole leaning into a single unbroken 21-year day, while the other rests in a single unbroken 21-year night. And how the world does not fear that long dark, and does not fight it, but simply leans into it, and trusts the light to come around again. But think, too, of the strange soft moment between those long seasons, the brief turning time when the tilted world swings round to the part of its orbit where the sun crosses its middle, and for a while, after 21 years of leaning one way, the world passes through a gentler balance, the light spilling more evenly across its whole face, day and night sweeping quickly around it. A soft brief evening of the whole world before it leans away into the long dark of the opposite season. Even a world tipped this far over gets its evenings. Even a world that has lain all the way down passes, in its own slow time, through the soft turning hours when the light goes level and gentle and low. And you are in one of those hours now, your own soft evening, your own gentle turning time, when the bright, hard light of your day has swung down low and level and begun to slip away, and the long dark of your night is coming softly on. It is the most natural thing there is, this turning from the light toward the dark. The whole tipped world does it. The whole turning earth does it. Every evening of every day since the first day has done it, the light going low and gold and level, the dark coming softly up from the edges, the world leaning quietly over toward its rest. You are only doing what everything does. You are only turning the way everything turns, from the bright toward the dim, from the day toward the night, from the standing toward the lying down, and there is nothing in that turn to resist and nothing in it to fear, because the turn is as old as the worlds and as faithful as the seasons and as gentle as the low-level light spilling soft across the tipped world's face. So let the turn take you. Let yourself lean, at last, all the way over, the way the world leans, out of the light and into the dark, out of the day and into the night, out of the long effort of standing and into the deep soft grace of lying down. You have done the standing, you have done the holding, you have done the long, bright, effortful business of the day. And now the light has gone low and level, and the dark is coming softly up, and there is nothing left to do but lean into it, and roll gently forward through it, and let it carry you down. The tipped world is rolling on out there in the deep, calm, and patient and whole. And you are rolling gently down into sleep, here in your warm patch of dark, calm and patient and whole, leaning into the night the way the world leans, resting the way the world rests, carried the way the world is carried, on and on through the long soft dark toward the far low light of morning. There is a faint magnetic field around the tipped world too, one last small strangeness worth a quiet mention, and even that is tilted oddly, leaning far off from the world's poles, off-center, askew, as if the world had tipped even its inner compass over along with everything else, so that its invisible field wobbles and leans in the dark in its own crooked, patient way. And yet the field still does its quiet work, still wraps the world in its soft, invisible shelter, still turns aside the thin, fast wind of particles that streams out endlessly from the faraway sun, protecting the smooth blue-green face beneath it, keeping its long, calm vigil, whether or not it points the way a compass ought to point. Even tilted, even off-center, even leaning at its own strange angle, it holds, it shelters, it keeps watch through the long dark, faithful and quiet, exactly as it is, asking no one to straighten it, needing no one to set it right. Let that be the last small thing you carry down into sleep then, the thought that even the crooked and tilted and off-center things out there are doing their quiet, faithful work, holding and sheltering and keeping their long watch through the dark. None the less faithful for leaning, none the less whole for being tipped. You do not have to be upright to be held. You do not have to be straight to be safe. You may lie at whatever soft, crooked angle the night has left you at, tilted and leaning and off-center, and still be sheltered, still be kept, still be carried faithfully through the dark by all the quiet leaning things that are keeping their watch around you. The tipped world leans and holds. Its crooked field leans and shelters, and you lean and are held and are sheltered and are carried softly on and on into the calm. Let us gather softly all the quiet company of the night around you now, before the words begin to draw the dark in close. Somewhere out in the deep, the tipped world is rolling forward on its side, and its warm heart is resting at its center, and its diamonds are sinking slowly through its dark, warm sea, and its faint rings are standing upright and still around it, and its little poet's moons are wheeling patiently over its poles, one named for a spirit of the air, and one for a queen of the fairies, and one for a dreaming girl, all of them looping quietly through the dark. And its off-center field is keeping its crooked, faithful watch, and its slow, calm winds are drifting their soft clouds around in patient bands, and its long light is pouring low and level across the turning time of its seasons, and far, far away the lone traveler that once swept past it, it is still drifting outward, faithful and silent, on into the deeper dark. All of it is out there, right now, in the great calm quiet, turning and drifting and resting, keeping you the most patient and faithful company there is while you lie here in your warm patch of dark, and let the night take you down. And none of it needs a single thing from you. Not one of those turning, drifting, resting things is waiting on you tonight. The world rolls without your help. The rings stand without your help. The moons loop and the diamonds fall and the winds drift and the field keeps its watch and the traveler drifts on and on, all of it, endlessly, faithfully, without the smallest help from you. And it always has, and it always will. You may lie here and do nothing, and everything out there will go on exactly as it should. You may sleep the whole night through and wake to find it all still turning, still drifting, still resting, still faithful, still whole. And so you are free to let go now, entirely, completely, down to the very last small holding, because there is nothing left that needs you, and nothing left to keep, and nothing left to do, and nothing left but the long, soft roll of the night, carrying you gently down toward morning. Tonight has been about a world that lies down instead of standing up. Tonight has been about the tipped world rolling softly on its side through the great calm dark, tilted all the way over into a rest so complete that its very way of moving became a kind of lying down. Tonight has been about the smooth blue-green face that drinks the fire from the light and gives back only the cool, and the faint dark rings that stand upright and quiet around the leaning world, and the little poet's moons that loop patiently over its poles, and the warm dark sea far down inside where the diamonds fall like slow soft rain, and the small warm stony heart resting still at the center of it all. Tonight has been about the long slow seasons, each one stretching more than 20 years, and the low faraway sun turned down almost to a star, and the patient musician who found the world one quiet night with instruments he made by hand, and the lone faithful traveler still drifting outward through the dark. Tonight has been about how a world can be tipped over by something long gone and make of that very tilt a slow and rolling grace, and about how you, too, may lean all the way over into your rest and find it not a falling, but a kind of peace. The world rolls, and it rests. The world rolls, and it rests. The world rolls, and it rests. On and on through the long calm dark, needing nothing, asking nothing, whole. You are held, and you are carried. You are held, and you are carried. You are held, and you are carried, softly, on and on, through the deep soft dark toward the far low light of morning. Let go, and lean, and rest. Let go and lean and rest. Let go and lean and rest, the way the tipped world leans, the way the long light rests, the way everything tired eventually lies down. And none of this needs anything from you tonight. Not the rolling of the world, not the standing of the rings, not the looping of the moons, not the falling of the diamonds, not the turning of your own quiet earth beneath your bed. None of it is waiting on you. None of it needs your watching or your worry or your help. It is all being kept, faithfully, by nothing you must do, and it will all keep being kept through every hour of your sleep and every hour after, whether you are awake to it or long since drifted down into the dark. There is nothing left for you to carry. There is nothing left for you to hold. There is nothing left to keep. There is only rest, and you have every permission to sink all the way down into it now, because none of this needs anything from you tonight. And when this quiet drifts to its end, there will be another quiet exploration waiting on the screen, another soft journey out into the calm dark, ready to begin. You do not have to reach for it. You do not have to choose it or start it or do anything at all. If you simply rest, it will begin on its own, softly, in a little while, and carry you gently onward the way this one has, so let it. Let it begin on its own. Let one calm drift flow into the next without your lifting a finger, the way one long slow season flows into the next, out there on the tipped world, the way one gentle orbit flows into another, on and on, while you rest. And I wonder, as you lie there in the warm dark, drifting down, which small, quiet part of tonight's tipped world will follow you softest into sleep. Will it be the diamonds falling slowly through the warm dark sea, or the little moons looping patiently over the poles, or the smooth blue-green face turned calm toward the faraway sun, or simply the great slow image of a whole world lying down on its side to rest? You do not have to answer. You do not have to choose. Just let the question drift somewhere soft at the edge of your mind, like a low faraway light, and let it dim and blur and fade as you sink on down into the dark. Let your breathing go slow now, and low, and easy, each breath a little softer than the one before, drifting in and drifting out on its own, faithful as an orbit, patient as a season, needing no help from you at all. Let your body grow heavy and warm, sinking down into the bed that holds it, every muscle letting go of its small holding, the jaw soft, the shoulders soft, the hands soft and loose and open, the whole tired weight of you settling down into the patient dark. Feel yourself leaning, tipping gently over into rest the way the world tipped over, no longer holding yourself upright, no longer keeping any careful posture, only leaning, only settling, only sinking down toward the small, warm, still center of you where everything is quiet. Feel how held you are, cradled by the bed, cradled by the room, cradled by the turning world, cradled by the great calm dark, layer within layer within layer, all of it holding you, all of it keeping you, all of it carrying you softly down. There is nothing to do. There is nowhere to be. There is only the long, soft roll of the night, and you leaning into it, and the tipped world rolling quietly on beside you in the deep, and your slow, warm breath drifting in and out, and the dark coming soft and close and gentle all around you now, warmer and closer and softer, drawing you down and down and down into the calm. Sleep well.